I'm a nurse and have been working more hours for the past 6 months to save money to fix the ceiling in our house. I've saved up to $8,000 in my account, and since my husband hasn't worked since 2020, I'm trying to balance rent and utility payments. My husband is a golf enthusiast and so are his friends. The only difference is that all his friends are well off and can afford expensive golfing gear and trips. They mentioned going on a golfing trip next week and invited my husband, but he initially refused. Though he really wanted to go, he complained about how his friends bought fancy golfing gear while he had old gear. He asked if I could lend him $6,000 to buy a set of golf clubs, but I refused because $6,000 is crazy expensive, especially for someone who doesn't work. He got upset and accused me of holding his employment over his head when he couldn't help it. Anyway, I thought we were over this argument, but I had discovered that he'd pulled the $6,000 out of my account and purchased the set behind my back. So I went home and exploded on him. He swore he'd return the money once he got back from his trip, but I told him he had no right to take the money and spend it on a set of clubs while the ceiling needs fixing. He said the ceiling doesn't require $6,000 either, but the kids' room was affected too. I demanded that he return the set or pay me the $6,000 right there and then. He told me I was being unfair to him and that he's feeling stuck because his friends can afford to buy whatever, while he's being yelled at for wanting something for himself for once. I told him to get a job and buy himself whatever. He tried to tell me he'd pay me when he found a job after he got back from his trip, but I refused. He kept begging me to let him just go on the trip and we'll figure it out later, but I said no. If it wasn't for something as important as the ceiling, I would have maybe waited, but he's saying I'm abusive and controlling of his life. Edit. I can't return them because he never brought them to the house. I've never seen them, and I don't know where he's hiding them. I suspect his brother's house, but I'm on really bad terms with him and can't go to his house. So the argument now is just him pushing to get me to stay quiet till he gets back from the trip, but I'm putting my foot down and refusing. Not the idiot. This is a massive red flag. He stole from you. $6,000 is a lot of money, and if he's not working, how on earth is he going to pay you back? The fact that you're working your butt off to repair the ceiling, which is a significant need, and he thinks that golf clubs are more urgent than home repairs shows just how childish he is. Yup, if it's not a joint account, OP needs to report this to the bank and police. Kick the deadbeat out and let him face the consequences. He stole money from his wife and child so he could go golfing. He literally took the roof from over his kid's head. What a tool! What is the value of this person to you? Not the idiot, but are you sure he actually spent the money on golf clubs? Was the $6,000 taken out directly, or did you see the charge from a store? They can be pretty pricey, but I almost wonder if he's got a habit he doesn't want you to know about, because it's hard to believe anyone would spend $6,000 on golf clubs at your income level. OP, do you have ways to contact the friends going on this trip? If you do, I suggest you tell him that if he doesn't return the clubs and hand you the money today, you will contact all of his friends and tell them he stole $6,000 from you to buy clubs when that money is to fix the collapsing ceiling in your children's room, and that it's money you earned working overtime as a nurse during a global pandemic while he sits at home refusing even to get a fast food job. Be prepared to follow through. Embarrass the crap out of him. He doesn't care what you think, and let's see if he cares what his friends think. OP, why are you staying in this? Please hear me, it does not get better. There is nothing you can say or do that will make him understand. He will say what he needs to do at the moment to get you to shut up and get off his back. You and your children deserve more. Contact a family law attorney to find out exactly your rights and options. You're practically a single mother already. My family is low-key wealthy, but my parents have ensured that we're never flashy about it. We live in the same place we've lived for about 15 years. Don't have flashy clothes and cars, and generally make sure we're spending money on experiences rather than objects. Q, my younger sister, who is spoilt and for some reason feels incredibly entitled to her share of the wealth. She just turned 21, and I think part of it is her finally getting information about her trust, and in general how we stand. But of course, I'm 25 and the older one, so I knew all about this for a while now. Anyway, long story short, my sister ended up going car shopping with my girlfriend for expensive new cars, Porsches. My dad hadn't approved anything, so I don't know what she's going to do, but apparently she flashed my dad's credit card and talked up the salesman about how much money she had to spend. My girlfriend was shocked that I drive a simple, unassuming 10-year-old Lexus, have a sister throwing $100,000 at a car. We had a huge discussion and ended up fighting about it. She was shocked at roughly how much money we had and told me I was a tad selfish for not mentioning it when she had college and medical debt. Honestly, we've only been dating for 2 years, and I was thinking I would propose after another year if things are going well and start this discussion. Unfortunately, it's all happened a little too soon. I'm furious at my sister and kind of laid it out on her. I told her how immature and selfish she was, and how she was undoing everything our parents worked hard for to install values in us. She told me I had to grow up and I'm a wet blanket. Am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. I'm blown away that she thinks she's entitled to it. Your parents' money has nothing and will never have anything to do with her college and medical debt. That was a strange thing for her to say. I don't get why people would be mad at not being told about wealth. Are they equally as angry about not being told of a family debt? Not the idiot. The biggest idiot here is your girlfriend for assuming that you're obligated to pay off her debt because you come from a wealthy family. Is this really the kind of person you want to have a relationship with? I don't think that's fair to the girlfriend based on what we know so far. They've been dating for a while and it sounds like they've talked about marriage. At that point, you figure you already know everything major about your partner, so finding out something big that your partner never told you about, good or bad, is going to be a bit upsetting. OP hasn't said that his girlfriend wanted him to pay off her debts. Giving her the benefit of the doubt, she could fully intend on paying off her own debt. I don't think she's the idiot here. Agree. OP is the idiot for dating someone for 2 years and lying about their circumstances. That's a red flag. I would dump OP in a heartbeat if I found out something like that. How can you trust someone again after they've basically been lying to your face for 2 years? It doesn't matter what the lie was, it was still a lie. Also, if you notice what OP said, the girlfriend asked why they didn't help her pay off her medical debt. This means at some point, OP's girlfriend had to have medical treatment, and they basically just sat back watching her struggle to afford it. I'm sorry, but if you're dating someone for 2 years, you'd think you'd actually care about their health. Last night I had my in-laws visit, made them dinner and put it on the table while I had my own dinner, a yogurt and salad because I'd gained a few pounds and my husband pushed for me to lose some. Anyway, we were all sitting eating when my husband's dad asked what I was eating. I told him a salad. With a confused look on his face, he said, "A salad? That ain't gonna fill up your fat butt." Some of my in-laws started giggling and my husband did too. I felt upset and humiliated. I got up from my seat and stayed in my room until my in-laws left. My husband barged in asking why the heck I left my guests by themselves. I told him his dad insulted me and made me a joke in front of everyone. He said that I was being too sensitive and self-conscious, which didn't warrant leaving the table and disrespecting his family. I argued that he should have defended me instead of laughing along, but he insisted it was just a joke. I should chill, and then he said that he's not a lawyer or a police officer, so I should quit expecting him to get involved in every disagreement I have since I'm an adult. We kept on arguing and he said that I disrespected his family by leaving the dinner table and hiding in my room like I was a child when I could have just chilled and kept my cool. Finally, my mother-in-law sent a long wall of text about how inappropriate my behaviour was. He may be right in that I messed up and I was being a bit too sensitive since this is just how my father-in-law is, honest and straightforward even with his jokes. Am I the idiot? Could it be that I overreacted? So let me get this straight. Your husband has pushed you onto a diet, your father-in-law then joked about your weight, in your home, at your table, and then your darling husband laughed. Didn't see how rude this was? But your being upset and leaving the table was what crossed the line? Not the idiot. You are not the idiot. You were insulted in your own home. It's not okay for anyone to speak to you like that. I'm sure your husband and his parents have plenty of faults of their own. Would you be able to get away for a few days to think about the current direction in which your life is headed? Is this what you want for your future? Do you feel lonely in your own home? I promise you deserve to feel loved and appreciated just the way you are. If you want to lose weight to feel healthier, lose your husband. Treat yourself with the care, kindness, and love you deserve from family. Be your own best friend. Your BFF wouldn't want you treated like this. Not the idiot, but why exactly are you married to this idiot? He polices your weight and laughs when his family insults you. What? If a member of my family said something like that to my wife, which they wouldn't, I'd throw them out myself. Immediately. No hesitation. The following words out of my mouth would be, "Get out." Agree. I've witnessed firsthand how stupid comments like the husband and in-laws can impact someone's mental health and wellness over years. Not to mention the effect of a toxic environment on kids. If OP's husband isn't willing to start couples therapy to get on the same page, OP should consider moving out and putting some distance between herself and that completely unnecessary negativity. My wife and I are both 44. We had a daughter when we were 19, but she passed. It took us a long time to learn to live with that pain. There's a very sweet girl named Rosa, 23, from Ecuador at my wife's work. After getting married, she immigrated 5 years ago. Her husband worked security for my wife. He was such a thoughtful and hard-working boy. We'd been close to him since he was a teen, and he lived with his uncle renting our basement. Unfortunately, he passed in an accident last year while Rosa was pregnant. Rosa gave birth to a beautiful baby, but she's been very depressed and isolated, and her only bio family is an aunt. A few days ago, she came to my wife and me telling us she wanted to start school to make a life for herself. She got admitted into a university a city over to start in the summer. The big thing was that she asked us to take in her daughter. Now, we love Rosa so much, and while I would take in her daughter, it's not like she's abandoning her. My wife doesn't want to because the idea of giving up a child is unfathomable to her because of our daughter. So she started proposing alternate things like Rosa going to a nearby school, taking online courses, doing a trades program for her company and other stuff. We wound up arguing about it because Rosa needs this. Yes, it may take her out of our lives for a while, but if we tie her down to a life that's hurting her, that could damage her. And the fact that she's coming to us shows how much she trusts us. I tried to frame this issue to my wife in terms of what if our daughter was alive and going through this. My wife got very angry with me for doing that and said our daughter wasn't a tool that I could just use. On the one hand, I know she's hurt, but on the other, I didn't see what else I could say to try and make her understand. Sorry for your loss, but you are the idiot, big time. This conversation has literally nothing to do with your daughter, nothing at all. And bringing up your daughter was just a form of trying to guilt and manipulate your wife into doing what you want. She said no, this means no. You cannot force someone into a caregiver role that they do not want. This is not an easy decision to make. If you do bring this child in, you'll be starting all over. You didn't take time to think about what happens when mom gets her life together and wants her child back. Do you really think it's fair to ask your wife to have to go through another loss after it took so long to learn to live again? Agree. You say Rosa wants you to take the child but isn't abandoning her, that this isn't forever, so you want your wife to take on a baby and care for her, love her, only to have to give her back later. Come on, she already lost one child. Who's going to be giving up work to take on this baby? You? You going to be a stay-at-home dad? I suspect not. Maybe your wife doesn't want to give up her life. This whole situation is far more complicated than your wife thinking Rosa giving up a baby would be a mistake, and you're being naive if you think it isn't. Yes, that leaped out at me too. Is OP going to be the one to do all the work of raising the baby? If not, he should sit himself down. His wife has said she doesn't want to take in and raise the baby. That should be enough. The situation is messy and can become extremely complicated and damaging to everyone involved. It does make me wonder if OP ever got help for his grief. Update. Am I the idiot for bringing up my dead daughter in an argument with my wife? So, you all were right, and I apologized to my wife about bringing up our daughter in the argument, and we had a talk. We called Rosa and told her we couldn't take in her baby. She started crying and my wife had to console her. Rosa admitted that being an orphan and seeing how we treated her over the years made us see her as parents, and she wanted that for her baby because she couldn't give it without her husband. We had Rosa and her baby stay overnight because we got scared for her. We had another private talk and we admitted we didn't want Rosa to leave our lives and we were scared of what would happen to her all alone with the baby. So we came up with a plan, and in the morning we presented it to Rosa. We said we'd pay for babysitting, daycare, or whatever for the baby where she went and even her tuition. And then we offered an adult adoption to Rosa because my wife and I agreed that over the years we have come to see her as our child, and the idea of her leaving was breaking our hearts. The way her eyes lit up and hugged us both made all of us cry. Even the baby started crying because of the noise. She FaceTimed her aunt that night and told her the news, and boy was that woman happy. She literally started singing till she started crying. I also met and told her husband's uncle at a bar, and he gave me a bear hug telling me he was so happy that we could officially be brothers. When he saw my wife, he ran to hug her. We've told my wife's family too, and they're all happy. Only my grandmother knows from my family, and she's happy for us. I'm posting this because we filled all the forms, and hopefully soon Rosa will be legally our daughter. She'll be moving in with us too, or at least until she heads to university. So I guess the way it wound up is now we have a daughter and a granddaughter. I'm ugly, crying happy tears over here. This is just the most beautiful update. I'm glad you've all found a way to make all of your lives better. I can think of no better way to honor your first daughter than to make the world better for others. Your family has expanded, and there is limitless room in our hearts for love. Congratulations to you and your wife, Rosa, and the baby becoming a family. Best wishes to all of you. OP, you are the idiot for chopping the onions. Seriously, congrats on the additions to your family. It seems you've gained way more than a daughter and granddaughter. I love happy endings.